Hi, you guys, and welcome. This is our very first video for YouTube, so we're very excited that you have joined us today. I live in Toledo, Oregon, which is about 20 minutes inland from Newport, Oregon, or I should say we live in Toledo, Oregon. With me today, I have my amazing partner in crime, who also is my cohorts in making all this dream come true. So I'd like to introduce him really quickly. He's kind of shy, so go ahead, John.
Hi, I'm John, partner in crime in this adventure.
Thank you, John. So he is driving the wheel today for me, so I can just walk and talk. Sometimes you'll see me doing the recording, and sometimes you might see John. But today, we really just wanted to give you a quick overview or tour, maybe not too quick, of what we did here. And well, you might be wondering, why is she even here? I am a garden addict. There's no support groups that I can find, but I am a true hardcore gardening design addict. I love it so much. And I spend hours watching YouTube channels, binge watching. I don't watch my other subscriptions anymore. It's pretty much just YouTube. So anyways, I was thinking there's got to be other gardening addicts out there just like myself who simply need more content. So I am going to create content so you guys have something to watch, but also it's just fun for me to share what we've done. One of the things I'll mention before we really kick off the tour is that while our garden style may not be your style, which we totally understand, we love it. But hopefully you can glean tips, tricks, and different things that may or may not work for your garden. So let's go ahead and get started. And I am a little nervous today because it is my first go around. So hopefully if I say something incorrect, you can correct me or we can just giggle about it. So let's go ahead and get started. John, is it possible for you to show them the moon gate? Like, really zoom in on that. So my husband designs these moon gates, and this is brand new to our garden last May, and we have another one over there. These are just so beautiful. If you're interested and you'd like one for your own garden, please let us know. However, you do need to be in Oregon because we cannot ship these. These are heavy and awkward to try to ship. That being said, we've sold quite a few here in Oregon, and I love mine so much. In fact, I'm going to see if my partner, who is holding that camera, will make a couple more for me. Flanking this first moon gate arbor, we have some different varieties of roses that I will talk to you about in a more detailed video. But today I just wanted to kind of talk about what we're using this moon gate for. It's a great entrance, but we also have some beautiful climbing roses that should climb both sides, and they're both matching. And we'll talk about exactly what those are. I also have some clematis or clematis that I'm growing on each side. And you may be wondering or seeing throughout the garden various types of slug bait. It turns out we live in Slugville. Forget the zone. It's really all about the slugs here. Because of all of the rain and moisture that we get, slugs is a really difficult thing for us to navigate and work with. So if you have any tips on slugs, we would love to hear them. We have tried Sluggo, we have tried Demacious Earth, we have tried all the slug different options out there that I can think of. I've tried eggshells, crushed eggshells. John, what was the other option that you mentioned?
Hazelnut shells.
So we are going to try some hazelnut shells next week. Don't mind our UPS driver. He is just here dropping off some stuff for us. Anyways, so as you come in through the moon gate, you'll see that we have it also flanked by some big pots. And by the way, I need to mention, John, I'm going to step aside, and do you mind just giving them a really pretty view of our entire front yard? So my husband and I actually it was the end of April, I think it was the last couple of days of April, we were talking about doing something with our front yard. This front yard was grass and it looked terrible. I mean, we're not grass growers, and it was ugly. It was dead by July, and we weren't into doing grass. However, we have these outlining beds that we had installed a couple of years before, about 5 years ago on some of these, and we love them. We love them so much. And we used the rocks then, and we thought, one of my dreams has always been to have a real rock garden. And so I took a pen and paper and drew it out, and got John's feedback as well as my bonus son's feedback, and we decided to go with it. We added over 100,000 pounds of rock. We have pea gravel, we have standard gravel, we have, I don't know, decorative rocks as well for outlining the beds, big boulders in some areas. And I just personally love it. It's okay, will not hurt my feelings if you don't like it. This is just what works for us, and it was a great alternative to grass. So, and it reminds me of being out in a park. So anyways, let's talk about, for each of the sections, by the way, we have that circle in the middle, and then flanked with beds around each of that. And we'll talk about those in just a second. So before, we just had the grass, we did have the fire pit, and we had that back round bed, and then the outlining beds along the outside of the garden. Those were already there because we had already done those, and that side one over there. But everything else going this way, including these little beds and that circular bed over there, we added this last year. We did this project, this rock garden, in approximately about 4 weeks, which was kind of crazy. I did lose some weight, which I loved. I need a big project again to lose more weight. But anyways, it was such a fun project. We were just, every night that after work, we were working on it, and on the weekends. And I remember thinking, I so hope that next year I love it as much as I do today. And without a doubt, it's just as beautiful as when we first installed it. Now, that doesn't mean we didn't add plants throughout the year. We did, and I'll talk about those as we go through our other tours. Now let's go ahead and get started. By the way, within that circle, there's walkways. There's four different walkways. This is one of them. And each of them is flanked by different flower pots or something of that nature to give you a feeling of enclosure, I guess. But these two pots have, what is this rose? I just love it. I just forgot the name. But anyways, I will talk about these two earth angels. They're so beautiful, and they're supposed to have the most amazing smell. So I'm hoping they do. Most of my roses that we purchased this last year were either from Heirloom Roses, which is one of my favorites. Jackson and Perkins actually had nice roses. And then we purchased several. We actually went to our nursery that's about an hour away from us, Chenard's, and also Bimart had a clearance of roses. And so we have purchased quite a few this year. Roses, if you're kind of intimidated by those, don't be. The newer varieties have less issues. My biggest concern was rust and issues because of our rain. So we'll see. But I do have one rose that I purchased last year, and I think I purchased it from Heirloom Roses or Jackson and Perkins, and it was so good. Same with 3 other roses that I'll share with you in a minute. Anyways, both sides is flanked by the same Earth Angel perfume rose, and it's supposed to smell amazing, as well as some wire vine, which I love. This one seems like a smaller version than the ones I'm typically used to, and I purchased this at Chenard's, if you know where that's at. And most of my flower beds and pots, I use a lot of hardy geraniums. Hardy geraniums are amazing. They are your little workhorse with your perennials, roses, flower pots. And if you're not aware, for hardy geraniums in particular, there is a million different versions. Like this one is different than this one, and I'm addicted to them. In fact, I just purchased 2 more that I'm hoping will be here in the next week. Let's go ahead now, John, and let's go ahead and share the outlining beds. You'll see there's kind of patterns or symmetry or comparable plants within all my beds, just to make it look similar as you're walking along. This little spruce, weeping spruce, we purchased this last year as well at Chenard's, and I love it. It's probably my favorite new little accent little tree in our garden. I also have some peonies that I need to stake up, but I love these guys. They are like a creamy rose, and I don't remember the variety because I purchased those years and years and years ago. Throughout my garden, you're also going to see a lot of autumn joy or sedum in general. That is one of the easiest plants to propagate, and we will talk about propagating plants in one of our future videos. But if you're looking to save money, this is a workhorse in your garden as well. And I will say the pollinators love it in the summer months. Same is true for my heuchera. This is not one that I've propagated very much of, and I think, I can't remember the name of this one, but the one to the left of that, that is one that I've had in my garden and does well every single year, comes back, and I've broken off pieces from 2 plants. So as we walk through the garden, I want you to pay attention to how many of those you see, because again, those have been propagated and used in repetition in my garden. So as we continue this way, I have some other really pretty evergreens, some euonymus, more geraniums, again, are workhorses. I do have a bunch of things that are just starting to pop their little heads out, such as dahlias, and so we're still waiting to see more of that. I have some liatris or liatris, however you say it, potato, and chrysosmia is back there. If you grow chrysosmias, which I love, you'll see those in one of my videos. The hummingbirds will just go crazy for them, but they can be a little bit intrusive in our garden at least, but they're easy to pull out. So I'll show you where those are housed. I have spirea. I think this is candy corn, but if I'm wrong, let me know. Some of these things I've purchased over the years at big box stores where there wasn't a name on them. In fact, I just purchased some peonies I think it was a couple weeks ago from Brex, and it just was a mixed bag. So you don't really know the name or what you're getting. But anyways, this spirea is easy to trim. And one of the things you may not be aware of, but you can actually cut these or shape them similar to like a globe style, like you would a boxwood or something of that nature. So that is fun to do. Over here I have lots and lots of daylilies. I also have some phlox, which tall phlox, which is this plant right there. Some over here as well, and they are so pretty, and they are amazing during the summer months because they will bloom and stay bloomed from, I want to say, July all the way up until our first frost. So they're really nice perennial to have in your garden. This is another geranium, so you can see all of the different textures of the leaves are all so different. This year I will mention that I transplanted a bunch of my peonies so that we could put that moon gate arbor behind John that we were just at a minute ago. And so doing so, I had to move some things. Peonies, turns out, they don't really like to be transplanted, but as soon as I transplanted them, they all budded up and came up and looked great. So we were good to go on that. Again, these beds will be more filled out as time progresses. We're still early spring here. But some things I want to mention is we have some Veronica and some other fun things, more daylilies, more heuchera or coral bells, more geraniums. Look at this sweet little pink one. This is one I just adore, and it will bloom for quite a while, and deadheading it will help promote new growth. I have one that's an alba white, and it was actually called alba white, which alba's white, that's what it stands for. But hardy geranium, if you guys can find it online, let me know, because it's one that I love in my garden. I only have a few that I keep transplanting pieces to get it going. It truly only blooms in the spring. By the way, this is Ted Bear eating our slug bait. This is one of our little cheweenies. Ted Bear, come here. Come here. So I will do a quick introduction for him. He should not be eating that slug bait. Come say hi to everybody. Come here. So this is little Ted Bear. We actually have 4 cheweenies. Don't mind, he has an allergy eye right now. He is the baby. So we have 4 cheweenies, and just last week we adopted a standard full-size poodle, and she's 4.5 years old, and her name is Ruby, and she is fitting in just well. You're not supposed to be eating the slug bait. That's not good for you. Please don't judge me. We try to buy the safe kinds. Okay, so more autumn joy. This is a deodar cedar. I'm probably saying that incorrectly. It's really sharp, but it's actually softer than any time it will be because it's pushing out new growth. But it's supposed to get huge, like 150 feet, like crazy. I might be exaggerating that, but it's going to get huge. So to help contain it a little bit for a while, it is in a pot. When we get tired of it or it starts to suffer from the size, we will simply try to plant it out in our big field. Now, one thing you guys will notice is we have about 4 acres. Is that right, John? We have 4 acres, but unfortunately it's not all usable as far as gardening space. If I had my druthers, or we had our druthers, it'd be all flat land, but it's farmland. So we usually have cows, but we've had some storms that we need to fix the fence. So on the other side of this gate, or old farm style fencing or whatever, was where we usually house our cows. Ted Bear, I apologize. I'm not going to do any editing. So when you guys see raw material, it's just real life. It is how it is. But I don't want my puppy eating the slug bait. By the way, Ted Bear is 4 or 5 years old. 4 or 5 years old. John, if you come this way again, we have more spirea. I have some lilies in here, more daylilies. I've purchased about 5 different macrophilia. If I'm saying that wrong, you guys can correct me. Hydrangeas that I'm excited about. That being said, I don't know if you see the slug bait. I don't know if that was my best option. If you live in an area where you get lots of slugs like I do, hardy geraniums, heuchera, let me see, lady's mantle. Those are ones I would plant because the slugs don't like them. Like, you can plant as many as you want and they won't touch them. Unfortunately, they like my hydrangeas. And roses, they don't seem too bad. If you have deer, though, deer like your roses. And I forgot, John, will you come back just a little bit? I want to show them this rose right here. This is one of my favorite roses. Only, it's not actually a color I would actually choose, and it's not because I don't like the color. It's just so bright. I don't know if it was a clearance rose and I was like, just let me buy it, but it is called something Joy. I always forget its name. Burst of Joy. It kind of reminds me of a fluorescent orange Crayola crayon, like the brightest orange. And the first time it bloomed, I was like, oh, that's interesting. It does fade though as it progresses, and now I kind of love it because it's kind of like that just one pop of color in your garden. Like you're like, there is burst of joy. There she is in all her glory. She's just so pretty. Something else I will mention, you will see these obelisks. There's one here. There's one over there that my husband designed for me. I simply asked him and he made them. That one over there, that is made out of the same material as our moongate arbors. However, that being said, he will not make any more of them. It turns out it was kind of a pain in the booty to make. Is that correct, John?
Metal one was.
Yes. But otherwise, this one works great. I also have some roses in here. This is a climbing rose, again with some clematis or clematis, potato. The one thing I will mention about them too is that slugs, we are going to struggle to keep those alive just primarily because of the slugs. So sometimes you got to just try to grow what works in your area and not fight all of those components, because it turns out slug bait is very expensive. Yeah, anyways. So again, over here in this walkway, you can see that it's flanked also by some Japanese maples. I have a couple different varieties on the property. So people are probably going to ask, what inspired you for your garden design? I really wanted a rock garden, but it's got some Japanese elements, I suppose, as well as some cottage. I have lots of boxwoods in here, and just cottage style. I have some dahlias, so I don't really know my style. You guys can tell me what you think it is, but I love it. I love it so much. It just gives me peace when I come out here. Let's keep going this way. Again, the other moon arbor is also flanked by some roses. And I think these actually might be my Eden climbers, and followed by, there's a little Zephyrin over there that's also going to climb up and over. So that should be pretty. So I'm just waiting for that day, which I know will be a couple years. And I'm just praying we stay here long enough so I can see it. We also have some other additional roses. I believe both of those are Love Song by Weeks Roses, and excited to see those. That Japanese maple was probably a clearance tree. We buy lots of things on clearance, and it's about probably 5-6 years old, would you say? And I love it. It just looks so cute. And we have swallows that nest on our property that I love so much. One of the birdhouses that we had for several years, finally we decided to toss it. It was getting gross on the outside and the inside. So John and my bonus child Blake built those for me, and I'm so excited for those swallows to come back, and hopefully they will like their new homes. Now they're all big enough too that they can all get in and out successfully. So I'm excited about that. Other things that you're going to see in the garden is to try to give that park-like feel, or just the coziness. I also used different sizes of rocks and planted some growing things in the center, some coral sedum, I think is what it's called. I don't know for sure. If you guys think this is coral sedum, let me know. It overwinters here, but it's super easy to break off a piece, put it in a pot, put it in the ground. It will take over. No issues. Always comes back here. I also planted some creeping phlox that I'm noticing did not come back in my little rock beds, but that is okay. This bed right here is one of the new beds that we did, and I love it. So this bed and that bed over there, which we'll look at in a little bit closer in just a second, this bed and over there are somewhat match a little bit, and there's obviously their size and their style. But I have some grasses, again, more heuchera. Break off a piece, pop it in the ground when it's nice and wet outside. Again, lady's mantle is such a fun and easy plant. This is super popular in the garden community, but I just want you to let you know it was popular with me like 20 some years ago. It's just an easy plant to do. Again, you can see that the slugs are having a heyday with all of my perennials. If you look down closely, a lot of them have been eaten up. I'm praying that with the slug bait we just recently put out, it will help. John, will you zoom in on this beautiful rosemary bog? I had never even heard of this or seen it, but I think it's such a pretty element in my garden. It's pretty low growing. It's an evergreen, and those pink blossoms have been on there for about, I don't know, a month or so or more. It's just so pretty. That is a Japanese hinoki, little cypress. I think it's a cypress. If I said that wrong, let me know. I tend to say things wrong. That's okay. Anyways, I love it. It's supposed to get, I think, about 3 to 5 feet, and I can't wait until it grows up and gets bigger. Again, more sedum, autumn joy sedum that I just popped in the ground. Lady's mantle, the same thing. Originally, when I purchased my first one of these a couple years ago, it was in a small container. You can see several of those in my beds now. Easy peasy to propagate. and make new starts. I'm really excited about this little black mondo grass, I think is what it's called. Fun addition to my garden. One of the things I'll mention, and if you don't know this, when you're creating your garden space, it's nice to have some consistent colors across the board, but also consistent structures and even carrying over some of the same plants. Like you can see, for repetitiveness, it also just gives you a cohesive style for your garden, which I love. Back here I have, and I'll kind of show John because it's hard to see, a little Japanese anemone, or an anemone, depending on how you say it, potato. I love this guy. I had this in my prior life, and it gets tall pink spikes and it's beautiful. It can be invasive, but I haven't noticed that here on this property. In fact, I'm having a hard time getting it to get bigger than that. I have another one right over here. That again, we're just hoping. A little boxwood. This is a green mountain. And one thing I'm kind of embarrassed to mention is I have several boxwoods, but I didn't realize there were so many varieties. So now I feel like an airhead. And so I've purchased like 3 different versions, and I'm just curious now to see which one I like. But mostly I have Green Mountain, and then I have another one. I think it's a Sprinter, but I'm not 100% sure. As I mentioned earlier, we have tons of Crocosmias. These are amazing. They're going to have big, tall spikes of these pretty orangish red flowers. It's the Lucifer brand. Don't really like the name, but that's okay. Anyways, hummingbirds are so attracted to them, but they can be invasive. It was taking over this whole bed, so I did have to pull them out, but they came up fairly easy. I also have some white dahlias back here that I'm still waiting to pop up. I haven't been watering. We had tons of rain last month. This month for April was not very much rain at all, so I'm probably going to have to water in the next couple days. Down here, from the gate or from the fence over to this way, last year this was a brand new bed we also put in, and it was all wildflowers. And John, wasn't it beautiful? Like, so pretty. We had all different types of them, and now you can see some of them that are perennials actually came back that I'm really excited to see. The hollyhock and so forth in here. It's really pretty. I'm going to try to get it a little bit more structured this year, because since I put the bark dust, sometimes it's a little harder to get those little seedlings to go. But back here I also have some mock orange shrubs that I cannot wait to see come up. I also have some phlox that I planted last year that I'm hoping will come up. Just this last couple weeks, I purchased this little Mugo dwarf pine that I'm excited about. Although, looking at the requirements, I think I might have to move it, but they grow pretty slow. I can move it. And again, here's another geranium. You'll see I have all different types, different textures, different colors. So I can't wait to show you. This has got some blooms about ready to pop open. So that will be fun. Excuse me, as I monitor my puppy again. Apparently that slug bait is like a dessert. Tebber, no. So in this bed, this was also created last year, this whole section. I love it so much. It's got some beautiful, beautiful roses from Heirloom Roses. This one's another love song that I also have over there. This one is just incredible. And let's see if I can remember. I cannot remember, but this one is, I think it's Sunbelt Plum. Yeah, Sunbelt Plum Perfect. But this rose, let me tell you, it is incredible. Our daughter is getting married this July. So we purchased this last year when we were doing once they got engaged, we purchased them. Anyways, I'm excited about that. And then this one is a silver something, I can't remember, but anyways, it's also from Heirloom Roses. Now you're going to notice they might have different heights. That's because those 2 beautiful cypresses right there we just recently got, and they are heavy. They were in big pots, and unfortunately they fell over and broke the tops of that rose over there and this rose over here. But what are you going to do? They were free. I'm not complaining. They're beautiful. And so those 2 lemon cypresses, they smell incredible. Oh my goodness, amazing. But we just recently took them out of their pots and planted them here, kind of making that little bench super cozy and sweet. This bed also, you can see more Autumn Joy. Again, picked those in the early spring, popped them in the ground. Easy peasy, lots of new starts. I also have some dwarf little arborvitaes, or I think those might be, oh, disregard, I just forgot. And this is one of the other, this is not a Green Mountain. I think this is a Sprinter, but you guys will have to tell me. It's got quite a bit significantly smaller leaves than my other Green Mountain boxwood. So I'm curious to what you guys think about that. I'm not sure what's killing my lavender on this one. It may just be that I need to water because we haven't had water for a while. Again, you're going to see lots of slug bait, unfortunately. I did buy some ajuga, which I'm really excited about. However, I didn't realize that also is a slug magnet. So eventually I'm going to stop purchasing things that the slugs eat because I feel like they are just wasting our money. John, will you take the camera and just zoom in on our tree up above? This is our flowering cherry tree, which if you look closely, it has had some damage from wood borers. Every year since we've been together, which is almost 10 years, we talk about removing this tree because when it's not in bloom, it's not that pretty of a tree. However, it provides a really good amount of shade on our property and our front yard. The other thing, John, it's not pretty back there, but you just kind of scan the tree line. We get quite a bit of shade down here. So we get it. That being said, we get about 6 hours of sun at some point in this garden all day, at some point in the day, I should say. And so we are not quite ready to get rid of this tree. The other thing I want to mention is this is the first year that I've been with John that we actually get to enjoy these blooms. Usually they bud up and they fall down like the first wind. We get quite a bit of wind on the Oregon coast. Even inland at our house, there's quite a bit of wind. So these petals will be coming down. It looks like a big snowstorm when it does happen, a pink snowstorm, which is pretty but not so pretty to clean off of everything that you have in your garden, like your furniture and benches and all that. This was another one of our projects last year. John, if you were to ask someone, would you think they'd qualify you and I as kind of workaholics in some form or another, a projectaholic? Yes. Yes, that is us, but it kind of keeps us out of trouble and I love it. By the way, don't mind, some of this is always going to be a work in progress because I mentioned earlier we have all of our dogs. This is kind of their potty area, but also these 2 beds will now be turned over to vegetable beds because you're going to see our other garden that we're switching into perennials and flowers. I love having my husband because he also loves gardening. He loves the flowers as much as I do. This right here is our chicken coop. We redid this last year. Well, I should say that's not really much of a we. John did. I helped paint. But this is our new chicken home. And we have 4 beautiful little girls. Hi, girls. That have been such great layers all year long. We did have 5. We're not sure what happened. The one passed away. But they are so sweet. The dogs are still like, let me see them. Let me play or let me try to eat them or chase them. Even the little Cheweenies, they're sometimes the worst. Okay, so that is our chicken coop. If you look this way, what a pretty view. You're going to see the Japanese maples. And this one right here, I do not know the name. I think it's a Tom something. I'm trying to Google it and look it up. I've never seen a Japanese maple that starts at the base and goes up with its leaves. It's just so pretty, but the color, 3 seasons, is just phenomenal. It starts out more pinkish red and then goes to this really pretty bright burgundy that'll stay like this until the fall, and then it turns, I don't know, it's like almost a neon orangish red, like a color I've never seen before. It's probably my most favorite Japanese maple. That one last year my husband bought me for Mother's Day. Maybe he'll buy me another one. And then that one over there, we've bought a couple of our Japanese maples from clearance at Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, or something of that nature. This is another Japanese maple I love, although, and I should know the name, but I don't. We did have to stake this up. At some point, you guys will see our back deck that used to be our favorite place until we did this last year. And now this is our favorite place, but I need to clean up the back deck and plant stuff. So I'll probably take you on that video when we do that. But anyways, this used to be in a pot on the back deck, but because it was up against the house, it was growing forward. And so when we planted it here, we just recently staked it back and hoping that it will try to reach for the sun and do better. Now, I don't know if you guys are like me, but when I buy plants, sometimes their names or their scientific name or what have you is just not easy to remember. And I'm terrible with names. In fact, if you ever purchase an arbor from us or you comment on something and I mispronounce your name, I'm going to apologize in advance. Even the company I work for, my providers, they know I'm notorious for saying names wrong. You can call me Shanene. My name is Shawnette, but if I call your name wrong, you can call me Miss Shanene. Will not offend me. Anyways, so these 2 little shrubs right here, this is a blue kazoo. Isn't that a fun, easy name to remember? Don't you wish all plants had easy peasy names like that? This is such a pretty shrub. You can see it's still just a baby. We purchased this last fall. And so I'm really excited to see this grow. But we bought Blue a twin, and he is over there in that pot. And then John, because I like to move plants, and you're fairly familiar with this as well, how many times do you think Blue and his twin moved?
Probably 6 times.
Probably 6 times. I'm hoping they will work out well in these pots. We'll see. And then here is another teeny tiny boxwood. I'm not sure of the variety on this either, because again, I purchased them at different places and either on clearance, or I did purchase some from Great Garden Plants online as well. Again, this bed I talked about a little bit earlier, but I just love it with the boxwoods. I just added those this spring. I just think it's going to make it really pretty, and I can't wait to start shaping them up. And I'm hoping, maybe you guys can put in the comments, I'm hoping Green Mountain can be shaped into balls. I thought that would be really pretty out here. I have different varieties of hostas. Typically I buy them in a bag, so it's a mixed variety that doesn't have names. But if I ever figure out what they are, I'll let you guys know specifically. This year I did recently buy some Brunner. It turns out Brunner is also a slug snack. And so that is not my favorite or ideal for me, but I do love Brunner. This one's a little Queen of Hearts. It doesn't have as big a sleeve as the Jack, but that's okay. We'll wait and see how that does. What I'd like to do next, John, is let's take them on the inside and show them these little mini beds, and then we'll do the outskirts and then go into our garden and there. Hey, tail bear. So again, when I designed this, hopefully the wind is not making the audio really bad. I wanted this circle, and I wanted to have a little bit of formality with the cottage style. And I kind of wanted to flank the fire pit, because I just didn't want the yard to be all landscaped beautiful and then there's the fire pit. So I wanted it to feel included and enclosed in here as much as I could. So there is a boxwood in each one of these sections, and I think there's 8 of these little mini beds. Is that correct, John?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. And then between these 8 beds, we have little green shrubs of some sort. This is a little spruce, a bird nest spruce, and I love it. The only thing I will say about this little guy is something got to him last year, even with my cage trying to protect it. So I am keeping an eye on it. I don't know what it was. I didn't think slugs would eat it. I have more over there that they did not care about, but this one, for whatever reason. John, will you show them that cute little greenery on there if you can? I just love when they get their new greenery. It's super soft, and it's like a super bright green, really nice, pretty accent in the garden. Again, more sedum, and if you're not aware, some of your autumn joy can go in your shady areas. They might not have as big as blossom or big as blooms or what have you at the top, but you can see these have been in the shade. They do get some sunlight, but not very much in this spot, and they're doing very well. I also have some various grass. It's something, and I can't remember the name, sweet something. This is also super easy to take a piece off and propagate it, pop it in the ground. And this one is just a really pretty accent color in your shade gardens in particular. This is one of my favorite heucheras, although I don't remember the name. So if you know the name, let me know. And it was dying. And so again, because of the slugs, so I have securely placed it here. And don't laugh. Yes, those are nails. That was another one of my attempts to try to stop the slugs from eating my plants. And actually it did work with the first layer of slug bait, and then the nails. Otherwise they don't work, just the nails. I also, let me ask you guys, this is kind of funny. Do you ever get in a project where you need to just get something in the ground? So you'll just plant it, you're in a rush, and you're like, it doesn't really matter, I'll go back to it next week and I'll take it out. Remember how I was talking about the Japanese anemone over there? They get kind of tall, they can be invasive. That is what this guy is. I did plant him here, but primarily it was an experiment to see if he would do better in the shade, and he is double the size as he was over there. So I'm going to take him out, and I might pop some in there in that circular bed right there to give him a better start at life. This is a tater tot arborvitae, which I have some of these, a couple different places that you will see. Again, otherwise, when you're looking at these little mini beds that structure the circle, they're all pretty much consistently the same, of 1 or 2 or 3 of the same different things, minus that heuchera that had to stay over there that primarily only gets shade. Otherwise, you'll get this burgundy one, by the way, sun or shade. You'll see it all throughout our front bed, front garden, and it's fine. 2 other plants that I popped in the ground in a hurry because I was like, I'm tired, I gotta get them in the ground. This is a nice soft soil. This was last year, remember? Did you just look at your, my husband's looking at his watch. I will hurry. Anyways, more daylily right here. Again, that was just a rush, gotta get in the ground. And same with this yarrow, which I thought was a weed when it first popped up, and I was like, oh no, that's a yarrow. More geraniums, which looks great. This is what the bird's nest spruce bird's nest should look like over there. You can see it's got a lot more growth. It doesn't have the wood branch empty or bald like that one over there. So it's loving its life there. Let's see. This bed again this is not an autumn joy. This is a different version. And I will talk about more versions or varieties that I have later on. But that's that. And this again is not the Green Mountain. If you guys know what this tiny one is, let me know. Or if I find it, I will share it on one of our next videos. Another tater tot, again, just trying to keep consistency across the board. I did every other to try to match what we're doing. Look at all that coral sedum. I think that's what it is anyways. This year, just very recently, we bought these two little bird's nest spruce too, again, just to make some consistency in our garden. And I love those. John, you want to come over here and we'll talk about this bed right here. I apologize, I had hair in my mouth. I love this little bed. Some of it I may need to move out. One of them being the globe thistle, but it's just, I like the texture. I think it's really pretty. And blue was originally here, one of those blue kazoos that I mentioned. Now we have brand new, introduced to our garden that I'm so excited about is Miss Ruby Falls Redbud. And I cannot wait until she shows her glory. It's going to take a couple years, of course, but boy, is she going to be beautiful. Ted Bear? No slug bait. In here we have some wild irises again that we went and propagated or got out of the woods just in our backyard. So very native to us. You can see that I have some other perennials trying to pop up. Hopefully the slugs don't eat them. I also have some Veronica in here that I'm very excited about. And I grew a bunch of things from seed this year, perennials and annuals. One of the annuals was Zonos geraniums, but this is my lamb's ear. And yes, it's a little sunburnt. That's because I planted them out on a hot day, but they are not dead, and they've been here for a week now, so I'm excited. This bed right here, again, was one of our first initial beds. I will say if you have peonies, they need more sun. This bed doesn't get, it gets this evening sun, but it doesn't get all day sun. Like some of those over there get more. So I might be moving this one. That's just a sweet little arborvitae green little guy that I bought recently, and he has the cage on him. In fact, if you're looking at the cages covering my little shrubs and greenery, it's to try to keep those dogs, my little chweenies, from peeing on them. Again, more daylilies. This was an ugly little guy that I purchased and made as a topiary. It looked like Cousin It, and I can't remember the name, but he was not very cute. I'm not even sure why I purchased him, but he looks so good now, shaped up and living his best life. Again, this is what I mean about taking out the heuchera and transplanting it. Unfortunately, the day I did this, I didn't water it very much. I'm not even worried. The roots are in there. It will eventually, I think it will come back. I owe you a drink if I'm incorrect, but usually they do. I'm not too worried about it. This is also one that I planted the same day, and it's doing fine. Just needs more water. I have some Veronica. Look at this sweet little ground cover. Isn't that the most sweet, precious thing? I just love it. And this was a $10 lace leaf Japanese maple that we purchased last year on clearance, and I'm thrilled about. John, will you show them the ferns? I did not plant those. Those just birds dropped them, the seeds or something, but I just think they're so sweet I couldn't cut them out, so I'm going to go ahead and leave them. You will see some other things in my garden that does need to come out, but I am still waiting. Maybe they will come back. I have some black-eyed Susans in here that are just starting to pop up, so we'll wait on those. And then, John, we're not going to give a full garden or front deck or front porch tour today, but will you give them the view of that up there? I just love it. When I first moved down here, we didn't have this bed. We had a pretty old deck that went out, and the house was a really light blue. And anyways, we added, that was the very, very first flower bed, and I remember thinking, oh, it's like Christmas. I just loved it so much. And you can see when I first planted it, I do have a photo of that, but anyways, there was nothing in that bed, and now it's just so gorgeous. Again, it's filled up with lots of geraniums and some Green Mountain boxwoods and some more arborvitaes, and I just love our porch so much. Okay, we are almost done. I will mention again, we have more pots flanking this walkway as well, and I just have to share, I just love this little guy so much. John bought these milk jug or milk, what do you call these? Milk pots, milk jugs, or yeah, something. I can't remember the name. That's milk pail. Pail. Anyways, last year, and I planted these up again with hardy geraniums, pots, ground cover. I mean, they work everywhere. Coral sedum and some cute little hostas, and they came back this year looking beautiful. Same with my heuchera. Again, 2 plants. Now I've got a million. Love, love, love that. Again, we talked a little bit about this bed. Now, if we look in here, my husband recently built those raised garden beds. If you want to go the route, they're beautiful. I love them. They're so pretty. The downside is they need more water because they're not touching the ground. So you do have to water those a little bit more. This was our vegetable garden for the last several years. However, this year we decided, why are we growing vegetables? We don't do great at it, and we love flowers. So I will take you on a tour now to show you the inside of there. We have this arbor and this arbor that are both flanked by 3 different types of honeysuckle. And I'm probably going to ask my husband at some point, who is that amazing creator of those moon garden gate arbors, to create one for there and there. But let's go ahead and take a peek. Again, you can see I have consistency across the board. I'm using some of the same components that I have in my other beds. You're going to see our plastic furniture. This is our year-round furniture that we leave out. We don't care. We will be taking out our plastic wicker furniture sometime soon. Even though it might look busy, we like cozy little seating areas when we're out here. Here is another moon gate arbor that my husband made, just a different style. I love this one equally as much as the other 2. And I do not have roses flanking this one. I have 2 clematis, potato. Again, I'm not sure if clematis will be a good option for us due to the slug population. So we'll just have to wait and see. Again, I have a hydrangea right there, macrophilia, that I can't wait to see. And yes, we do have asparagus. I used to have like 8 of them or 10 of them in here, and now I'm just down to the 1. If you let these go to shoot up, it has these most amazing, beautiful asparagus ferns that look so pretty, and your cut flowers. So love that. John, will you show them this bed? I don't know if you want to stand at the end. It's not my favorite of all my flower beds. This one used to get the most attention. Now it's one that is a little bit neglected. So that will be a project hopefully either this summer or early fall that I can take you guys on that journey to work on. We did plant some little hybrid tea rose yellow, and there's another one right there. I believe this is a pink that we purchased. I think those were the ones at Weimar. So never be surprised. You can get some good deals at all different places. So I'm curious to see how they do, but you can see again, my soil's a little dry right there, and we did not add our bark chips yet. Now let's come into here. These beds were, how old do you think these are? This is recycled wood. We try to recycle as much as we can as far as materials that we use in our garden and in our home. Is that
7, 8 years old?
7 or 8 years old. And they have done pretty well. If you guys could put in the comments the importance of adding compost so that my husband will understand when it's free, we should go grab some. He is not a big fan of compost. He doesn't understand why I love it. We need more compost for these beds, and I think they would do a little bit better. But anyways, this year, it's all flowers. They're not all planted up. I have black-eyed Susans in, I think, these 2 beds. Over here, I have liatris, potato in each of these. And then I just purchased some little inexpensive stuff at Walmart just to put color until some of my seedlings that I've started get planted out here. Look at this pretty lavender. Just love that one. And this was Walmart. I don't even remember if it had a specific variety name on it, but it's just so pretty. It looks so good in here. My favorite colors for the last couple years have been pink and purple. Like, I cannot get enough of it. I like some pops of yellow, apparently orange, which you guys will get to see this summertime, but pink is a big hit for me in my garden. Excuse me, no, you get out of there, Tia Bear. This is lemon balm that was in my herb bed from last year, so I just left it. I believe that is sage, or it's not thyme, it's too little. Boy, does this lemon balm smell good. Oh my goodness, John, you should pick a piece. Over here, I also planted some salvia, and I just forgot that name, so we'll not talk about that. And then I also planted some lamb's ear, again from seed that I just transplanted, so you're seeing a little bit of a shock. When you transplant it, that's okay. You should do it on days that are a little overcast, I planted these out in the sun. But let me tell you what I'm most excited about out here in particular. It's so exciting. And they don't look very good, but I am still excited. This is Agastaki, or anise hyssop. I'm not sure exactly how to say it. Remember, call me Shanae. But look at that pretty little purple flower. It's going to get pretty good in size. Again, it got a little bit of burn, but it's been here now a week. So it's going to start picking its growth up. This is salvia that I purchased at, I think, Walmart. We don't have a lot of stores over here unless we drive to the valley. So you make do with what you have. Back here, I ordered some peonies that didn't have a name. It was a mixed bag, but they're versions of pink. So there's 4 of those back here. Again, I popped off the sedum. Don't worry, they don't look great right now, but they will kick in and look great by the end of summer. I also popped in some hardy geranium. This is what things look like when you first transplant. Don't worry, it's going to pick up by next year. You won't even know that it was a start in your garden. Again, here's now another milk pail that I planted up last year. This one's a little bit slower in coming up. That's okay. With hens and chicks, easy to propagate, pop their heads off, pop them in the ground. This bed is the same thing. However, I also planted by seed, or grew by seed, some red salvia, and I didn't think it took. And let me tell you guys something. If you're growing things by seeds, don't be like me and like, you know what, I will remember. I'm not going to write a tag. First off, I can't read my handwriting. But I'm also just not going to write a tag. I don't have time for it. I will remember. You won't remember. Write tags. It's important. Even if you can't read it, have someone else read it for you. I can read. I just can't read my writing. Anyways, this has also got Agastaki and some of that red salvia that I was mentioning. Some parsley from last year. Again, I think it's sage or something. I forget my names. That's okay. And then back here in these beds, I simply planted some annuals. Again, I just wanted to pop a color while I'm waiting for other things to take place. John, is it possible for you to come over here and zoom in on this? These are zonal geraniums that I grew from seed. And unfortunately, I'm not the most patient person. No comment from my husband. I really am not the most patient person. But anyways, these are zonal geraniums that I planted out when it was hot. And so you can see they did not do so well. A lot of the leaves I already cut off. But do you see that little baby right there? That should be enough to get it going. Same with this guy over here. But I do have a bunch of zonal geraniums. In fact, I have one in the house that has a bloom on it that I'm just so excited about. I love all different types of sedums, so I cannot wait for this little guy to take off and see what he does. And again, just some little annuals in there. Again, this is just our first year doing flowers out here, so it might look sparse, but it will pick up. We'll work on that. Anyways, so I think that pretty much covers today's walkabout. I didn't go into exact names or details, but I just wanted it to be enough so you guys get an idea of our garden. Again, the reason why I created this channel is because I assumed that there's other people like me that needs more content. And what I mean by content is, like, when it's raining and I can't get out of my garden, I binge watch that YouTube and particular gardening channels. There's like about 7 of you that have probably made a lot of money if it goes by clicks and how many times they watch. You can go to your analytics, I think, and maybe see. But if you see me, it's me supporting you because I love your channel. But I wanted to make sure there's more content for users just like me who are either beginner gardeners, long-term gardeners. I am certainly no expert here, but I love it. And so they say do what you love. So I'm just going to share what I love and see if you guys like it. I apologize. I talked a little bit fast tonight. I will slow my roll, but this was our very first video. Again, I just wanted to get it out there. Stay tuned. We'll try to do another video in maybe 2 weeks or so. Probably going to look different with our dead cherry tree. It doesn't look so pretty when its leaves have fallen, but that is a-okay. That's just how life goes. We have other projects as well, so stay tuned. We plan on doing our back deck revamp. So I'll be planting up some annuals that we like to go to one of our really sweet little nurseries in our community that we will go purchase more annuals and some perennials from her. We are also building a, oh my goodness, what are we building? Greenhouse. Thank you. Yeah, simple words, simple words. It's been a long day. We're building a little sweet greenhouse in our backyard that I cannot wait to utilize. And so we'll take you on that journey as well. We've already got the gravel laid out, but you don't want to do too much too soon. So this is our first installment. And John, if you look over there by the moon gate, do you see that little squirrel or chipmunk? He does not realize we have chewinies because...
Well, the chewinies season. They climb up on my pickup that's usually parked there, and dogs can't find him. But then he runs up in them trees. Them trees is probably 200 feet tall. Timber fir. And
Anyways, he was
Anyway, it's
such
a
a
good home
cutie.
for the chipmunk.
Yes, and we love birds, so you will hear us talking about our birds. We have officially, I guess I've become old. I love our birds. Anyways, John, let me say goodbye to everybody. Thank you so much. I hope you will like, subscribe, and share. But really, I just would love it. Just watch. I love it when people just get engaged. So provide feedback, comments. I don't know how to get the algorithm to come to you. So when it does, if you don't like it or subscribe, I think is how it works, then it's not going to go out to other people that might be interested in gardening. So thank you guys so much. Stay tuned for more. And thank you so much for your time. Bye.